These families need their foods. These changes come at a time when many low-income households are already struggling with soaring costs, food costs, housing, and other basic necessities. This is not just a political debate. This is a moral issue. This is a humanitarian crisis. The Bible teaches us to care for the least of them. And this, in fact, is just that.
Okay, well, let me thank everybody for being here on such an important issue. And the bottom line is very simple here. We want to feed people who are hungry. And in America and in our Judeo-Christian tradition, we always feed the hungry. And yet, what's happened in the House of Representatives is awful in terms of just slashing that food. This is not a partisan issue. This is not a political issue. This is a moral issue, which are religious teachings and our American teachings tell us is so important and vital. So I'm with some incredible folks. I'm going to just acknowledge a few, and you're going to hear from some of them. From Grow New York City, this great organization that's throughout the 5 boroughs, but very active here at Snug Harbor. We have Marcel Van Ooyen. He's the CEO and president, and he'll be saying a few words. We have Dr. Carolina, one of our leading pastors on Staten Island, from the First Central Baptist Church. We have Catholic Charities, which has done such a great job in feeding the hungry. And that's Claire Atala is here, and we'll hear from her. And we will hear, Joel Berg is not here. We're doing a conference call with Joel with hunger advocates around the state at 4:30 this afternoon. So he'll be represented there. And we have Robert Zimmerman, a longtime friend of mine who's an advocate. Those are who will speak. But you know, this affects our farms, our grocery stores, and everything else. So Michelle is coming. She owns a Fresh Met and Bensonhurst Market. Michelle, raise your hand. Thank you for supervisor, because Vinny, the boss, couldn't be here. And we have Michelle Mendoza of the Associated Market Group. Where's Michelle?
Here.
Hi.
We have Bill Fanny.
And Bill Fanny is here from Met Foods, which I know well because they're in my neighborhood. Okay. All right. And so you can get pictures. Let's hold up some of this food so people can get pictures. Take some of them. Take some. Just hold them up. And the people who say, you know, the right-wing types who don't want us to feed people say, oh, they spend this money on booze and on chocolate bars, etc. It can only go for healthy foods, like the fruit and vegetables we have here, like meat, like potatoes, like bread. So that's a very important point as well. Okay, everyone get this? Good. Okay. So, thank you all for coming. Now, we're here at Heritage Farm at the Snug Harbor Cultural Center to sound the alarm about the bill that has come from the House of Representatives. It could push thousands and thousands of Staten Islanders into deeper hunger and hardship. We have children who need to be fed. When a child goes to bed hungry, they can't learn in school, they can't really socialize, their lives can be ruined. But it's not just children, as important and near and dear as they are to our hearts. There are a lot of elderly who depend on the SNAP to feed themselves. They're out of work. They still may have a payment they have to make on their home. They certainly have to make payments for medicine. And with Medicaid being cut, a lot of people are going to have to, if they cut Medicaid, we're fighting against that as well. But if Medicaid is cut, people will have to pay for medicine, and they will just need SNAP and our other food assistance programs as well. Listen to this. Every month, 70,000 people across Staten Island rely on supplemental nutrition assistance programs, that's SNAP, just to put food on the table. They are children and parents of children. They are veterans We have a large number of veterans here on Staten Island who depend on SNAP. They've come back. They maybe didn't find a job. Maybe they did. We have middle-class families. You lose your job. And guess what? You still got to put food on the table. SNAP helps people do just that. And we have so many elderly. Staten Island has a lot of elderly people. And so many of them depend on these programs as well. So it's 70,000 on Staten Island. It's 1.7 million in New York City depend on SNAP. As I said, and people who just, as I said, they've lost their job. You have 3 kids. You had a good job. They told you you're fired. What do? You want to feed your children. That's what this program has always been. The House moved to take food away. They slashed this program more than we have ever seen by $300 billion. And you know why they did it? Do you know why they did it? To give tax breaks to the billionaires. Now the billionaires have made a lot of money, God bless them, but they don't need a tax break. And they certainly don't need a tax break when they're taking food out of the mouths of hungry children and hungry veterans and hungry elderly. But that's why they did this. And there'll be another chance to come back and the House can change their mind. So you could ask your representative here to change her mind, because the Senate will vote on it. It will certainly not vote exactly on the House. Good. But what? Thank you. Well, what I'm saying here is that the Senate will change the bill. Hopefully, we'll get enough Republicans to join us. Every Democrat, I believe, wants to support the program, to keep the SNAP program strong. But we need a few Republicans, and we're working on them across the country. We don't have Republican senators, but we do have 7 Republican Congress members. And if the bill comes back to the House, which it in all likelihood will, is almost certain to, we need those representatives to raise their voices and say, we can't cut this. It's taking mouths out of the hungry, food of hungry people, for tax breaks for billionaires. It's just incredible. Who would think we'd be in America that would do that? The tax breaks are not for children. They're not for small business. They're not for working people. They're for the ultra-wealthy, who already are doing just fine. Price of food has gone up. We have a lot of monopolies in many food areas that make the price go up. And I'm sure we'll hear from our providers that the number of people who are coming to our food banks and coming here to grow New York is increasing. Isn't that right? More people need this help. More people need this help. If the bill passes, for everyone from kids to senior citizens are going to lose meals. And on Staten Island, when we make sure that our kids, our seniors, our veterans are getting fed, that's an investment. It means less people are getting sick. If you're malnourished, you're more likely to get sick, and that's going to cost more money as well. Kids will have trouble in school, as I said. So this is really something we care so deeply about. And when you ask the American people, do you want to cut SNAP? 80% say no. But a lot of people don't know, folks, that it's being cut. And that's why you got to spread the word in your congregations, in your organizations, in your families. Spread the word that this is actually happening. Because people don't like it when they hear it. But the Republicans tried to pass this bill that cuts SNAP in the dark of night so that people wouldn't know. Our job is to get the message out and let people know and let them tell their representatives, do not cut this vital program. Hunger is just growing. Food insecurity is becoming a greater problem in America than it has been in a while. So our message is simple. My message is simple. Trump says this is a big, beautiful bill. This bill isn't at all beautiful. It's ugly. When you take food out of the mouth of hungry kids, hungry seniors, it's ugly. And that's what we're telling people. So let us stand together Let us stand together for decency. Let us remember that the scripture says we should feed the hungry. We should give drink to the thirsty. That's what our Bible and our traditions tell us. And we have to stick with that. So folks, this fight is far from over. We got to win in the Senate. And when it goes back to the House, we got to get them to change their minds. And you have the power to do that. You have the power to do that by letting people on Staten Island know how bad this is. Tell their Congress member, vote no unless we start feeding again. Okay? Thank you. All right. Now, our first speaker, I just got to get the order, I think, is our great pastor, Demetrius Carolina. No, our first speaker, you are next. But our first speaker is Marcel Van Ooyen, who is the CEO of Grow New York City, who will just not only elaborate on what I said, but talk about Grow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Schumer. Appreciate you coming out here to Staten Island today to talk about this extremely important issue and all your leadership in Washington on these topics. I'm shocked that we have to stand here today actually and talk about cuts to SNAP. It is such an important program. Grow NYC runs the Green Market Farmers Market. We run our own farm stands. You live very close to one of our green markets. I know
Yes,
that.
I do.
I won't say which one. We'll keep that private. But I know you've often shopped there, and we appreciate that. You supported our hub program. We built a 60,000 square foot.
I've been a supporter of SNAP ever since I got to Congress decades ago, and we've seen it grow, and we've seen it do better and better until now. Sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You preach like the pastor will in a minute. Yeah. We run the Green Market Farmers Markets. We support farmers. We help them provide access to healthy, fresh food from the Hudson Valley, Orange County, and beyond in New York State and surrounding states. We bring that food into communities. We know that there's about 15 million pounds a year of food that flows through our programs, through our green markets, through our farm stands, through our hub, that go into low-income communities that help people eat better and stay healthier. SNAP is a big issue. We have about $5 million worth of incentives that flow through our green markets and other programs. That cut is going to be devastating to our markets, to the communities that rely on this important program. SNAP is not a welfare program. It's a food program. And every dollar spent on SNAP has a multiplier effect, both in the stores that we have here and the farmers upstate. It allows them $1.50 of that ends up in those communities to help them expand their farms and keep farming. So this is not just a issue about low-income individuals. It's an issue about food and health. And there's no better way to make America healthy again than to support small farmers and get fresh, healthy food into low-income communities. Through SNAP and the other programs that have been cut, through the USDA, we have a wonderful program that allows us to work with 20 community organizations. We're opening up a site here on Staten Island on Saturday that delivers healthy, fresh food for free into communities. That program is also coming to an end. So we call on Congress to turn this around. We appreciate your leadership. We have to change what's happening in Washington. We have to think about small farmers, not commodity farmers and agribusiness. And we have to get this federal money into the pockets of low-income individuals and our farmers. So thank you again.
Thank you very much, Marcel. And I was on Tuesday, I was in the Rochester area and in Oswego County, which is north of Syracuse, with similar groups. Catholic Charities was there. Many of the pastors from our churches came. Many religious leaders came. But there were also at every one of our events a whole bunch of farmers, which is what Marcel was talking about. These are small farmers, and they depend on this. And it's a win for everybody. And Marcel said it's not just low-income people, but even receiving the food these days, when there's job insecurity, when there are veterans coming home, often go to people who once were in the middle class but need help now. So it's everybody. A lot of people here on Staten Island of every type who need this food. Okay, our next speaker is Dr. Carolina. He's the pastor of the First Central Baptist Church. I've been to his church several times. He's a great leader. Dr. Carolina.
Thank you. I know that I'm speaking after our great senator, so I brought a few notes with me. As pastor of the First Central Baptist Church, I'm deeply concerned, really, about the, and certainly disheartened, troubled with the recent passing of the Republican reconciliation plan that proposes cuts nearly $300 billion from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, as we all know, is called SNAP, all the way through 2034. According to the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, this would constitute the largest reduction of SNAP in this nation's history.
Right.
These dreadful cuts really enacted part by offsetting trillions of tax reductions skewed toward the richest Americans would result in millions of our fellow citizens losing some or all of their food assistance that they desperately rely on. These families need their foods. These changes come at a time when many low-income households are already struggling with soaring costs, food costs, housing, and other basic necessities. This is not just a political debate. This is a moral issue. This is a humanitarian crisis. The Bible teaches us to care for the least of them. And this, in fact, is just that. In a nation as resource-rich as we are, it is unconscionable to balance tax cuts for the wealthy on the backs of the most vulnerable American citizens, our children, the elderly, working families, those facing hardships. So I, along with many other, I think, meaningful-minded Americans, we urge our legislators, regardless of party, to consider the devastating impact of these proposed cuts, what they would have and do to millions of American families. I implore them to reject this plan and to instead pursue compassionate, just, and equitable policies that uplift rather than to oppress. Let us not be a nation that turns its back on the hungry. Let us instead rise to the highest moral standards, one that reflects the dignity of all people and the value we claim to hold dear. Thank you so much.
Well said. You didn't need it. Your notes were well done.
Yeah.
You don't know. I heard him preach. He doesn't need notes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
for your
very
leadership.
much. And Dr. Carolina mentioned something. This is not a Democratic, let me just repeat that. It is not a Democratic or Republican issue. It is not a liberal or conservative issue. It's a moral issue.
That's right.
And the polling data at least shows 80% of Americans want to see this program stay. That means a majority of Democrats, independents, and Republicans all want to see it stay. So but the problem is, since they did the bill in the dark of night late last week, a lot of people don't know, and that's your job. Let everybody know and let them call their members of Congress. Okay. All right, our next speaker, Catholic Charities has done a great job on feeding the hungry for so long. I've spoken to the Cardinal numerous times about how much he believes in this and how he wants things done like here. So let me call on Claire Atala. She's the CEO of Catholic Charities on Staten Island.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm speaking after Senator Schumer and Pastor Carolina, so I will definitely barf, right? So I did prepare a few notes.
You're supposed to take in the food.
Okay, not give it out. All right. So I'd like to take a few minutes of your time just to discuss the vital role SNAP plays in the lives of disabled individuals, our neighbors, and absolutely the older adults here on Staten Island and across the state. For many in these communities, living on a fixed income means making tough choices every day. I always say that. It's either putting food on the table, paying your rent, or paying your utilities, and it becomes such a hardship. SNAP helps really relieve a lot of those burdens and gives access to food to many of our neighbors. Program doesn't just feed people, it really sustains them, empowers them. It allows them the ability to stay in their home longer. It allows them to remain self-sufficient and to live with dignity that everyone here in America deserves. So as we consider policies that affect SNAP benefits, we really need to remember that these are not just numbers in the budget. This will affect our neighbors. It would affect our parents, our friends. So please protect SNAP benefits. It's not just about food policy. It's really doing the right thing. And I could tell you, we run a food pantry out of our Port Richmond Avenue site. And right now there is approximately 200 people waiting in the rain, and they've been there since 8 a.m. And this is not out of greed, but basic sustenance. It's basic human need. So please help us in protecting SNAP benefits. And thank you again for having us here.
You did very well.
I did. Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
Okay. Robert Zimmerman has been an advocate for these programs. I've known him for a very long time. Are you going to speak? Yes.
You want me to?
If you want.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yes? No?
Okay, I'll say a few words, sure.
Just quick. Yeah.
Okay, very quick. Very good. Okay, let me just, first of all, thank Senator Schumer for his leadership, both in the Senate for New York State and bringing this great coalition together. Let's remember, this legislation in the House that put in place these immoral cuts, these un-American cuts, passed by one vote. So the coalition you've launched here today throughout our state, Senator Schumer, is so defining. The leadership of Grow NYC, the leadership of our urban farmers and our rural farmers, the leadership of Catholic Charities is an important coalition that can turn this around. Let me say to you as an advocate, as a small business owner, we are facing very turbulent economic times. That means layoffs. It means job insecurity. It means these programs for our veterans, our seniors, for our children, for working class families has never been more important. That's why, Senator, thank you for what you're doing here. Thank you for your leadership around the state, because we can turn this around and we're grateful to you.
Thank you. Right. Thank you. And as Robert said, one vote. You get one vote to switch, we can win. So make sure you're working on this. The vote won't come up on the Senate floor till probably about the week of June 12th. So you have a little time. We want it to be early.
You have a senior citizen SNAP recipient right here who has spoken in Washington.
Thank you. What's your name?
My name is Patty.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah. If you cut SNAP, it's going to be devastating to people. I rely on it. I just about pay my bills. I need the SNAP. And a lot of seniors like me do also.
Right, because you have to pay rent, you have to pay for medicine.
That's right.
So if they take away food, I mean, it's terrible. Thank you, Patty. Thank you.
She met with you. We met with your staff as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
There are thousands of individuals in New York State with intellectual and developmental disabilities that are sustained by SNAP and Medicaid and education. So we appreciate the role that you are playing.
Thank you.
Lives depend on it.
You bet. Lives do depend on it. People will live less long if they don't have healthy food, plain and simple. And that's God's most precious gift to us. Okay, so now we have a bunch of grocers, and representing the grocers will be Bill Fanny of Met Foods. Bill, thank you for coming. Thank you.
I definitely agree this is not a Democrat-Republican issue. I'm a Republican, so just to let you know.
We still like you.
But I see I have 2 stores on Staten Island. Every day I have to give more and more to local food pantries because they need the help, because there's so many people out there hungry and need. I see more and more people coming into the store with SNAP, more than I ever seen before. It's true. If you cut it, you're going to hurt senior citizens, young people, veterans, all those that definitely need this SNAP. And there's not much more you could say. It's not hurting people that can afford to pay their bills. It's hurting people that can't afford to pay their bills. And thank you for having me. And that's the whole thing. SNAP is a serious, serious issue to Republicans, Democrats, to everyone.
Right.
Thank you.
And let me just say, to show you the passion people have, our last three speakers were not, were not scheduled to speak, but they felt so strongly about it, from the disabled community, from the elderly, and the groceries. And we have grocery stores represented in the Bensonhurst part of Brooklyn too here, because this affects lots of things, lots of places. Okay, we'll take some. Do we have the great Paige Tepke, who works for me? I think we called on everybody who was scheduled to speak. So we'll take some questions on this subject from the press. Any questions?
Well, how much does this, the cuts to SNAP and the cuts to Medicaid, I mean, how much does that affect our hospitals and our urgent care centers?
If they cut, I was at a nursing home, Silver Lake Nursing Home here on Staten Island a month ago. And we had the leaders of all the hospitals, not only the smaller hospitals and the nursing homes, but big hospitals on Staten Island. And like Mr. Fanny, many of them, I don't know where he went, many of them were Republicans, but they all said how devastating those cuts would be. We estimated, just off the top of our heads, that over 18,000 Staten Islanders could lose their jobs if the Medicaid cuts go through. So we're fighting for the Medicaid cuts. The clean energy, they want to cut all this stuff for clean energy. It's going to raise people's electric bills by about 10%. So people are going to get clobbered by this bill.
750 union jobs on the South Shore of Staten Island disappeared.
That's right, because of that, which I helped bring to Staten Island. Thank you for being here. Are you from the union?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. But because they were making the turbines that they nearly put out of business with Equinor, and we got them back. But with these clean energy tax credits going down the drain, those 800 good union jobs will be lost. And I was there several times getting that program done. So, devastating. Any questions from the press? Okay, well, thank you for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Now, I have 3 words. Get to work. We got to save this program, and you know how important it is. Thank you.
Senator,
Yeah.
thank you for coming so much. Just speaking from, I run a food pantry. Project Hospitality's food pantries, soup kitchens, and it's not just programs that keep people off the pantry line. It's